Welcome to Viewpoint. Last Friday there was a demonstration which gathered 300 to 400 people here in the piazza, organised by the Moroccan Community Association to draw attention to the fact that there are currently no regular transport links between Gibraltar and Morocco. There used to be, but they were interrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and so far they haven't been restored. Tonight we hear from individuals affected by that situation, both stuck in Gibraltar wanting to return to Morocco, and others who have loved ones in Morocco wanting to return to cross the Strait and come back to the Rock of Gibraltar.
Ho morto mi famiglia, un nieto, casi di 10 años, y no a mí.
I miss my daughter, I miss my sisters, and my father has died, has passed away, and I haven't seen him.
No fue en entierro. Es mucho.
Son momentos que pasan en la vida que no los recuperan.
3 cajas, la misma casa, 3 cajas.
This demonstration is to send a message to Moroccan government, because we're nearly 2 years now without any regular transport from Gibraltar to Tangier or Tangier Gibraltar. We got a big population here, or big community here, so that people need the transport between Gibraltar and Morocco to see his family, like every time we have that transport, and we need more regular transport. But now, hace dos años que no tenemos ningún transporte entre Gibraltar y Marruecos, pero esta comunidad lo necesita lo más pronto posible, porque estamos en la puerta ya, or nearly to the Feast of Lamb, and some people need his family visit and all of that. And also we have some Moroccan pensioners stuck in Morocco. She needs to come to Gibraltar to have medicine and to visit the doctor.
We care very deeply for the community. The Chief Minister personally, who's away, personally asked me to be here to show his support. And I probably would have come here anyway. I have very many links with the Moroccan community, and I think we have to listen to them, listen to the hardship that and the distress that many of them are experiencing, and add whatever weight we can to helping them in resolving this situation.
Yo llevo mucho tiempo aquí porque yo no hablo de mí sola, yo hablo de mí, de mi amiga, de mi hermana que enferma en su casa. Ahora yo viví con mi hermana nerviosa porque 1 año, 9 meses, no he visto a ella su marido. Mira, respeta. Coge una chapa. Yo aquí vivimos, gracias a Dios, comemos todo. Yo no quiero el barco para el fiesta de Carnero, no. Queremos un viaje para toda la vida, una vez en el mes, una vez cada 15 días, una cada 2 meses, porque fines en el barco no puede ser. Yo también, una mujer mayor, 67 años, no puede vivir más. Yo vivía de marca. Viví de marca para mí, para muchos amigos. Aquí yo tengo una señora, vine el otro día, cogí su ataque de nervio. Vine aquí, cuida a su marido, murió el marido, enterró al marido, 9 meses y ya está aquí. Enterró al marido, no tiene casa única, Abdelhadi, gracias a Dios, que ayudan a mí a tener un cuarto para dormir. Ese vino, esta cosa no. Ese que queremos, por favor, yo pido al gobierno de Gibraltar, toda parte que ayuda a nosotros, que para un barco de guardia, ese que queremos, no queremos nada. Un millón de gracias, hijo.
Malika, tell us a little bit about your situation and the fact that you are stuck in Gibraltar.
قال لك قل له القصة ديالك ولأن نسينا هنايا وحدة في جبلتر.
أنا جيت مع الراجل شهر 2 في الأول ديال 2 جبتو للسبيطار باش ياخذ الدواء ديالو ونمشيو بحالنا.
Malika, what she was saying that she came in February to get medication for her husband. She came with her husband over, and then it started the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and she stayed stuck here in Gibraltar. And after staying here, her husband, he got really sick, and they had to admit him in hospital. He's been admitted in hospital for 8 months, and this last January 2021, he died, and she's still stuck here. And with the help of the Moroccan Community Association and the government, she got help, and they've allocated a place in the retreat center for her to be able to stay. And what she's asking now is for help for her to go back to Morocco. Obviously her passport is still not with her, it's with the immigration, and she can't go anywhere except staying here in Gibraltar until they start again with the transport.
Hombre, hace falta a nosotros, porque hace tiempo tenemos un barco aquí fijo, el avión también, ahora no tenemos nada, casi 2 años aún más. A ver, cuando hace uno malo a un muerto, para ver una familia ahí, no, ¿cómo va, ¿sabes? Por la mala gana no puedo, porque tengo señora todavía no hay de carta, estamos esperando. Ahora, gracias a Dios, porque el gobierno de Gibraltar está ayudando, apoyando, a ver, para poder hacer algo aquí. Y pedimos por el Rey Mohammed VI, a ver si puede ayudar a nosotros. Ha muerto mi familia, un nieto casi de 10 años y no a mí. Ya enterrado y todo, ya casi más de 4 o 5 meses, a ver, y ahora estamos aquí casi de 1 año y todavía no hay nada. El año pasado yo lo mismo, estamos sufriendo, a ver.
All the doors has been open in other countries. It's got flight. Morocco has got international flight now in all the countries, but Gibraltar is not been in that program. You know, we need to be. That message is to include Gibraltar in that in this program, to have also our Moroccan people traveling to our original country.
Henry, so the lack of links between Gibraltar and Morocco have affected you. You were stuck there for a number of months.
Well, last year both Priscilla and I were stuck there for 5 months. So we lived the situation very much hands-on. This year I went over to check on our house, and the country decided to stop flights to Spain, which was the only link of going, because this is not just now. Historically, there's always been problems with links from Gibraltar since the Monscal ceased and since the traditional Jogi Bay as we used to know it. It is high time that this is taken seriously, because the feelings of the people, I mean, imagine not being able to access your family. I've lived it, I know what it's like. Something needs to be done, and it needs to be done now.
Well, the problem of the transportation has greatly affected us and for the Moroccan community in Gibraltar. We are living a bad situation. We are very sad. Our family in Morocco are very, very upset. I miss my daughter, I miss my sisters, and my father has died, has passed away, and I haven't seen him. After 5 months, my mother has passed away again. And thanks for Ali, the VC, from the Moroccan community, and for the government of Gibraltar, they have given me a good help to do the test of the COVID as soon as possible. And I remember I was going to Malaga, and exactly at the entrance, Ali has sent me the COVID test, and like this I can cross, apart from the problems that I have found in Morocco. I have arrived to my home very, very late, and everybody was waiting for me. You know, I arrived a bit late. I have seen my mother. It was very late. And the other problems, well, everybody said that we can cross by Spain. We can't cross, not everybody can cross by Spain because, for example, my wife and my sister, my daughter, they got the green card. And with the green card, we can't cross by the border. We have some people with the wheelchairs, some people with the old age, they haven't got enough money, for example, to go by Malaga. Even with Malaga, the ticket is expensive. And the solution that they have done yesterday, this is not a solution. The government of Gibraltar, they have been working hard, and thanks for Mr. Picardo and for the Moroccan community, thanks for all the people of the support of the people of Gibraltar. This is not the really answer that we are waiting from Morocco. We are Moroccan, and we want the solution from the government of Morocco, the same like the border when it was closed. Why Morocco was sending everything from Morocco to the Moroccan people living here, or for the people of Gibraltar, and now they don't want to answer to our demands. This is the problem. We are not happy with that. How can a lady like Malika, for example, he is earning £130 monthly to pay £550 to go to Morocco now? We are not happy with this. We want the problem of the transport to become like before. I remember always there is a line between Tangier and Gibraltar. That's what we want. This is the good solution. We have to wait. We are not happy. We are very sad. Nearly 2 years, some people nearly 2 years they haven't seen their family. And I wished that His Majesty, the King Mohammed VI, used to look for the solution of this problem. This is the only thing that we are waiting, because the government of Morocco, they haven't given us any good answer that we want.
Pre-COVID, we used to have a direct flight which used to do Casablanca, Tangier, Gibraltar on a Thursday and on a Sunday. Over 6 years ago, when the route started, it used to cost £75 return. The price then went up to £115, and just prior to the flights being discontinued because of COVID, they were £130 return. We also used to have every 2 weeks, every 14 days, a ferry that used to come on a Friday, Gibraltar Tangier, and return on a Sunday. All of this was discontinued March 2020.
The ferry was cheaper than the flight, right?
Yes, I believe the ferry was something like £75 return at the time. When COVID started, all marital links and air links were discontinued by Morocco. Both Priscilla and I happened to be in Morocco at the time, and we chose to stay there, and we were there for over 5 months. When Morocco opened as a country again, our only option of returning was on a flight via Malaga, which wasn't cheap. We have to remember that COVID has changed the way people travel and the prices that it used to cost.
Return flights from Gibraltar to Tangier were advertised this week, but the Moroccan Community Association said the £550 price tag was not affordable for senior citizens on modest pensions. The short flights were advertised by a Moroccan business called Tétouan. While Morocco has generally opened its borders, transport links with Gibraltar have not resumed. This prompted a demonstration on Friday. A spokesperson for the Moroccan Community Association told GBC the situation is particularly difficult for senior citizens and those who do not have EU passports, as they are not allowed to travel via Spain. Our reporter Jonathan Scott spoke to Iman El Yamlahi.
It is very hard for the Moroccan community here in Gibraltar, and more that they see, like worldwide, Morocco has opened their borders, and also they gave the service, the flights, transport, and also the ferry. And here in Gibraltar, they haven't given any services. And also what we can see is most of the countries worldwide, they're on the red and amber list, and Gibraltar is in the green list. And 97% of the population here in Gibraltar, they've been vaccinated. We don't see a strong reason why Morocco are not accepting a deal with Gibraltar. What we need here in Gibraltar is a permanent transport. It can be flights or it can be ferry, but with a reasonable price. Not like you've seen, I think, the announcement, the flights that cost £550 for the elderly, and the issue here is the elderly community. They're the ones that they go in a flight here from Gibraltar, and also the non-EUs that they can't have any access to cross the border.
The ones who don't have an EU passport?
Yes. And it's very difficult for them. I know most of the community, like a big percentage of the community here, that they haven't seen their family for 2 years. I know one of the cases that his father has died, and he hasn't been to see him, and he hasn't seen him during those 2 years. And I think what we are asking Morocco, we're not asking for much. We're just asking for a deal, for an agreement with Gibraltar for a permanent transport. You see a lot of elderly here that they're suffering. They have their children there, their family there, and they can't go to see them. And when you see them very humiliated, not seeing their family. And also they've been here without going to Morocco for the feast, to spend it with the family, which is very important. It's like Christmas for the locals, and they spend it by themselves here in Gibraltar. And it's really bad situation.
السلام على رسول الله. هذا نداء حار أيتها الحكومة الموقرة، أيتها الحكومة المغربية التي.
This year I happen to have been there in March and stuck there for 3 months. When Morocco reintroduced the flights to Spain and France, which is what had been discontinued, I paid £250 one way to go to Malaga. So talking now about the flight, the charter flight that SETI Tours has been trying, because he's been trying for a very long time, the 3 months that I was stuck there were many attempts, but it always failed at the last minute, because apparently the authority for the flight never came through. And not a lot of people know about this, but SETI Tours is the only entity that has actually achieved charter flights, because that is how I went over in January. I also have to praise the government of Gibraltar. They have been working behind the scenes very, very much, and they've got it very right for the COVID, for the vaccine, but we have to realize that we're dealing with a humanitarian crisis. The people that don't have a British passport or a Schengen visa, that don't have the option of traveling via Malaga, can only travel from Gibraltar direct, and if there is no direct link, some people have been here for 2 years without seeing their family. They have suffered the death of loved ones without being able to attend a funeral.
Well, I think there's the continuing uncertainty with COVID. I mean, that's been the main problem. Morocco hasn't opened up for transport, so obviously that has not made the situation even more difficult for Gibraltar to try and re-establish these links. We've been trying, but we need Morocco to actually accept the permissions that they need to have in place before we can actually have an air link or have a ferry link, and that's where we are at.
So you're hoping this message will reach Rabat?
Yes, directly to Rabat, and we wish to have the soon as possible the answer to relax our people, because it's in hysterical moment now and the people is still is in bad situation. We have a very, very bad situation.
Well, personally, I mean, my wife's been stuck in Morocco for 6 months now, and it's put our life on hold. It's financially, emotionally draining. My mental health has been affected, hers too. We've put our life on hold during this situation. I understand that in the grand scheme, travel for leisure reasons is probably what's being pushed for, but in my personal case, I just want my wife to return home to Gibraltar. It's hugely stressful situation, and it's been prolonged and feels like the matter's being ignored, and it just needs some attention and some action. Let's get things moving again. Let's get people back to their loved ones and resolve this really stressful time. Yeah.
What's your wife's name?
My wife's name's Maha. Yeah.
And where is she based at the moment?
She's in Tétouan at the moment, yeah. So I'm basically funding her for the last 6 months. Of course, as a husband, that's my responsibility, but it makes things twice as hard as if she was with me. Of course, money is not the main issue. We want to get on with our lives. We want to continue, and for the last 6 months, as I say, we're on pause, and it's like a nightmare. It's a nightmare. So,
well, we wish you every success, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Pedimos gracias a Ali porque también está usando, ¿cómo se llama? Ayudando a nosotros y habla encima de nosotros para todo de aquí a Marruecos. Y pedimos para el gobierno de Marruecos y Sixto de Mohammed Sixto a veces se puede ayudar a nosotros, ¿sabes? Él le abre, ¿cómo se llama? El marhaba, él me dice que bienvenido. Y nosotros nada, todavía no hay nada, está esperando. Y ha llegado la gente de todo el mundo, de América, de Australia, de Holanda, y nosotros estamos olvidados.
Usted ha tenido que pasar por una muerte de un familiar sin poder estar allí para...
Ahí está, ya sabe.
Yo llevo 2 años y pico sin ir a mi pueblo. Tengo familia ahí, tengo nietos. Y está llorando ahí, siempre en teléfono llorando. ¿Cuándo va a venir? ¿Cuándo va a venir? ¿Cuándo va a venir? Entonces ha llegado la fiesta esa. La fiesta esa para nosotros es una fiesta sagrada. Y toda la familia donde sea reúne para hacer el día de fiesta. Entonces el problema es que no tenemos dónde irnos. No puede ir a avión ni a barco, está todo parado. Entonces, ¿qué más quedamos? Así como una cárcel abierta.
¿Tú tienes muchos familiares entonces en Tánger?
Sí, muchos familiares. Tengo 3 hijos, 2 hijas y un hijo, nietos.
¿Y qué tiempo sin verlos?
2 años y 2 meses, por ahí. Yo y mi mujer, también mi mujer está conmigo aquí, está llorando por los nietos ahí, llorando en teléfono siempre, llorando los niños, mamá, vente para acá, mamá. En fin, no tenemos dónde irnos y ese es el problema que tenemos.
12 nietos, cuando a mí y la abuela estamos llorando. Estaba llorando, ¿sabes? Nosotros y ellos, los dos.
How are you feeling, Malika?
كيفاش كتحس انتينا؟
وانا كنحس انا بقوة التخمون ما نخمم نمشي بحالي عند ولادي كيتسناوني كلشي كيتسنى كلشي كيبكي ما مسنسنش يفرقوني كنحس انا خصني نمشي نشوف ولادي ماشي لا باهم لا انا هادشي اللي كاين.
She's very exhausted of thinking of her children and going back to Morocco. She's been stuck for 2 years, and last year she hasn't been for the feast, neither this year, and it's very hard for her. What she's asking is for her to go back to her hometown. She doesn't want anything else.
The issues have been ongoing, people who haven't seen family members, but the feast which is upcoming now is important and has brought things to a head. No?
The both things, because the feast is make you to remember your family and remember how you pass it with your family, you know.
Muy difícil. 47 años viví aquí. Nosotros no siempre moví para atrás. Una vez en el mes, 2 meses, 3 meses, falta algo, sabemos, esperamos, apuntamos. Nosotros movemos a Abdel Ali. El pobre ayuda a nosotros. ¿Qué? ¿Un pajarito? No puede ser. Murió mi hermano. Llámame hasta un entierro. Yo he visto un entierro de aquí. Pasamos una semana. Murió mi primo, murió el viernes, enterró el sábado, no está enfermo. El lunes murió la otra. 3 cajas salen de mi casa, no mira a nadie. 3 cajas, hijo. Yo tengo mi sobrino de América, viene, mira la tumba del padre. Yo no miro la tumba de mi hermana ni de nada. No fue en entierro. Es mucho.
Son momentos que pasan en la vida que no los recuperan.
3 cajas de la misma casa, 3 cajas. Pero Mohamed, mi hermano, tiene mi primo. Mohamed, mi Abdul Khalaq. Ahora nosotros cogemos nervios.
Entonces es muy urgente de poder poner un transporte.
No, hay con Malaca. Yo no puedo, una mujer mayor, mover con Canadá. El problema lo tengo. ¿De dónde sacar?